Hello, welcome back to Garage 86. Another day on the interior again today, I'm afraid, but got a few pretty cool parts to fit, some bits you may not have seen before, some more TRD parts, some more trim panels, and also going to change the gauge cluster. Currently I've got the earlier spec JDM dials which only work in kilometres, so everything is saved in kilometres. So I've been to Digidash, I'll put a link down there in the description, and I've got the 2017 cluster with, as you might have guessed it, a Gerald Just 2017 Plus installation kit, which I've done a little bit differently, and got that new cluster to go in as well. So that'll be one of two of my UK spec edits that I need to do to the car to get it legal for the UK roads. So without further ado, let's go back in the dark place and get inside. Oh, one thing to show you first, this is the other one of two of the parts that I've installed to make it road legal in the UK. Follow me. So you just pull this little grey tab out, if you can see around there, fits in this bit, this end, and then the other end just has a release tab like that. Push it and it falls out. So you actually connect it, the reverse, if you can see there, the push tab goes from the other side. Oh, lead that bit in first. So lead the clip in first and then just push it and it fits in. And then that clip just goes back in and you put the door back together. And that's how they look fired up, working with the battery connected. So yeah, only the red glow from the back. MOT tick 1 of 2 for this video. Out at the garage today. Look, trees, nice. The plan today is to get the 2017 cluster adjusted so it shows the right mileage related to the kilometers of the original car. So I've come out into the middle of nowhere today. I'll put some details in the description below to get this little chap mileage adjusted and potentially get the TPMS light bulb removed, so that hopefully it doesn't cause me any issues going forward and I don't get that lovely blue light telling me there's an error. But you'll probably see me back in the garage next time you see me, and we'll see how it panned out. So this is my current setup. As you can see, you've got the Japanese kilometers only section, and it's done, come on, you can do it, 36,819 kilometers, which I've had edited into the 2017 cluster. I'll get that up in a second. But first things first, to remove the surround on top, this one, you just need a screwdriver for one Phillips screw up here like that. Grab that, don't lose it, and then kind of do that, force it off and put it there. And then you've got this trim panel as well, which, as you can see, is held on by these two screws at the back. But it also makes your life easier, especially if you haven't got a stereo in, to pull that out as well, because there's one screw just here to take care of too. So let me just grab the screwdriver, just flung one of the screws across the car. That was not intentional. Right, so undo this one, like that. Oh, there's the other one on the floor. And then these two up the top just here, like that. One out. I always like to do the last few turns with my fingers because I'm less likely to drop it down the edge of the dash if I do it that way. Right, and that one comes out like that. Pull this off. Just a bit of gentle persuasion from around the sides, I think. There we go. But there is a connector, as always, on the back for these buttons. Let me see if I can find... Is that the release there? Yeah, that feels like it. Get that undone and out of the way, and I'll show you where we are. And now we're at this stage. So this all comes out. I'll just show you how in a second. There were no more clips, but there were a couple of hidden screws. One just there and one just there. And then it was easier to remove the top part of the steering wheel. Not steering wheel, the steering wheel cowl. There we go. So, let me try and figure this one out for you. So as you now can pull this forward quite easily like that, you'll see at the back, at the bottom, top, sorry, there's just this one connector like that. And then the whole thing just comes out. So I'll show you a quick comparison of the pair before I plug it in, just so you can get an idea of what the differences are. So here they are side by side. This is the old JDM one that came with the car. So you can see kilometers only. And this is starting more at the 7 o'clock sort of time. And then over here, you've got your water temperature and your fuel gauge over there. Whereas on that was from a 2016 car. On the later 2017 Plus, you've got this control over here, which also has miles per hour and kilometers. This goes to the more 6 o'clock space. And everything on the right side of the dial is operated with this screen. So I'm going to put this in the car now. We'll just make sure that it actually all fires up. And then we've just got a quick bit of wiring to fix. So let's get this in the back. Try and get it so you can see. Sorry, try not to get in the way. There we go. Right, just sit that back there. So first thing, it's moaning at me that the door is open. So let's solve that issue. And then if I start it, the mirrors are going bananas, sorry about that. But yeah, look, you can see, you got all the controls over there. 22,802, which is roughly what my original cluster was saying in kilometers an hour. Revs all effective. And then yeah, if I turn it off, all drops back to where you want it to. Right, so let me get that taken out again, and then I'll show you the quick bit of wiring we have to do. Now, back to this stage again. Now you can see there's a lot of cables going in, there's a lot of pins coming out, but we're only interested in 3, which if you flip it over, are on this lower bit here. So starting from the left, this grey one is 21, then 22, then there's a gap, that's the first one we're going to use, 23, then we got 24, 25, another gap, 26, 27, 28, 29, another gap. So I can confirm on the JDM models that the same holes still need to be filled by the same pins. Now on the Gerald Just kit, that is red, white and black for my one. And if I just double check, I'm pretty sure, yeah, red goes in 23. Here we go, here's the connector. Red goes in 23, white goes in 26, and black goes in 29. Helpful I was actually focused there, wouldn't it? Red, white and black. So to put those in, the first thing you need to do is, looking at the side of the connector here, is get a small pick on that little left-hand insert, which I'll try and show you one-handed, but I can't guarantee I'll be able to, which is here. And if you see, this little white block has just come out slightly on the underside there. See that? If it catches the light. Do the same on the other side. It's fun, they said. Work on cars, they said. Right, as you can see, the whole thing is now slightly raised. It's only like 0.5 millimeter, it's barely anything. So you grab your connectors, starting with the red one. They will only go one way. I really could do with a third hand here. Unfortunately my tripod doesn't fit very well in the car. Let me see if I can get it over my shoulder. Bear me a sec. Right, now I've done the first two, red and white. So I'll just line up the black one. It only goes one way, which has this little point at the top. But if you line it up and it slides in, you get a very satisfying click. No, not that satisfying click of the door shutting on me. Come on, there you go, and wait for it. Oh, it's not doing it then. Is it fixed? No, it's not fixed, that's why. Oh, come on. Swap hands. Come on, you can do it. Is it the right way up? It is the right way up. This one will not go in. Why is it the other two I did off camera went absolutely fine, and this one is a pig? Hang on, was that the click? No. He's not playing ball. Hang on a sec. Why is it the second I put the camera down I got the click? Anyway, you can be here for this click. So your last stage, now look, if you give them a pull, they're all fixed in place. So then you just give it this push and this push, and then that side is done. Now we've got this connector here, and the control unit is going to go down here where these buttons are. So we need to route this cable behind here, behind the dash. Luckily I've got the radio out, so that makes life easier to push it down, but I've also got to pull this area out just to get behind. So I'll unclip those two, which we're quite used to doing after the previous video. There we go, push that out of the way, and then should be able to feed it from the top down here and then under here for where these go. So I've got an extension for that somewhere, wherever that's hiding. Ah, here we go. So if I, why is there always things like this to make it easier to do one-handed? Right, one sec, put you down. Right, so that's unraveled. So then this extension, quite a lot of it actually, this extension just connects into that one and then gives us the same connector on the other end, which goes into this connector that is on there like that. And then that replaces these buttons here, and I'll show you why in a minute. But first things first, let's run this extension cable. I'm assuming this will only go one way as well. Follow the cabling and it should be that way around. Right, so black, white, red, black, white, red. I feel like that's in. Yeah, there we go. So that's that extension. So I just need to feed it behind the dash, which I think I should be able to pass through this side next to our connector. And hopefully I'll be able to get my hand up. Oh yeah, look, there we go, got my hand up there. I'll move it all through into this side first. So as I'm pulling it here, it's just feeding its way in through here, and then like that. And then I want to just drop it down to the lower part of the dash down here, which I'm sure will be the more annoying part. Aha! Right, now which side do I want to pull? Both till you get it right, I guess. There's the connector. Is this the end? There we go. Right, so that's the cabling run down there. You can see the end now. Right, so I want to pop off this center console here, and then I'm going to try, let me see how that comes off. I think it's just a pull. Yeah, there we go. Pull that, pull that, pull that. Take this off for the 18th time. And then we've just got this little connector here. Pull that over there first. It might make it easier to get it out the car to show you something. And then this connector here should just pinch in that side. Where is it there? And that should come out. Come on. That's the problem. Everything is the first time removal, so everything doesn't want to play ball. Right, anyway, I think you can see what it is. Press that button there and it comes out. So I'll do that and then I'll show you the rest. Now, with that out the way, there's the connector just there. You can see I can pull that out the way for a sec. I can slide my hand under, see my fingers under there. So I'm going to try and pass this cable down to myself. There we go, pull that through. Get rid of all that cabling down there somewhere. And then that is ready for the connection on the back of the button, which is just down there. But let me just show you what I've done outside the car to make another TRD part inside the car. Can't help myself. So these are the parts of the interior trim. So you got your new handbrake handle assembly, new gear gaiter, and this TRD surround. In typical TRD style, it just sticks to the one that you've got in existence, so that's fine. And this one is a full replacement panel. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but there's the TRD debossed into the red part of the leather. And you can't really see it on the edge, but it is also just here on that. I'll probably get a better shot of that when it's in the car. So I'll be replacing these parts as well when I put everything back together. And this piece also is getting replaced. This is the sort of suede look to complement the sort of top of the doors. But this is to reduce the glare for when I'm sitting in the garage, because obviously it's quite bright in here, but no, it's just a nicer feature, nicer material, and that just replaces the top one in there when I get to that. So this here, 83245CA070, is the buttons I've got to replace the earlier spec black buttons that are already in the car. These ones are slightly different. I have modified these, so I'll talk you through those in a minute. Take that box out of the way. So if you can just see the front of those, they've got the off button for traction control, and they've got the track mode there as well. So these are all a little bit different compared to the ones we looked at earlier, but you'll also see these holes cut in the middle there, and that is because I have already butchered them to fit the Gerald Just joystick in there. Now normally they give you this little 3D printed push on cover, but unfortunately I have issues, and that just looks a little too different for me because it's textured as opposed to smooth. So I used that as the template for the other one and just drilled through so that you can see we've got the same holes in both pieces. I also had to, I don't know how well you can see, but in there I had to cut out some of the plastics just to make it all sit flush. And on the box itself, if you can see in there, I've had to cut some of the plastic down roughly a millimetre, maybe 1.5 millimetres, so you can see the thickness of the board could sit just on this flat plane here. So I did that with like a plastic saw and a chisel just to smooth it out. And then on the back you've got this gap here. If I take this panel off, this bit here would normally be there, but I've taken that out as well so that you can run the cable in above the top of this membrane so that it runs out in between. So when it's all fitted together, it looks something like this. So you thread the cable through there like that. Make sure you've got the orientation round the right way, which I believe is that way, and then this sits over the top, and when they come through the holes, there you go, it just sits flush down like that. Then on the reverse you can see now that the cable can just go round those little plastic tangs there, if you can see that, plastic tangs on the inside. Then you put this cover on next, matching up the orientation of these little pluses, if you can see just in there, there's one here. So you match that up with this membrane, put that over the top like that, and then I think this is the right way around, push it till it clicks. And they should all be roughly in line. And then I'll get them back into the plate and put them in the car. And this is just to show you in profile when it's all back together that it's pretty similar to standard, and these buttons obviously still activate, works for both of them. And then yeah, that should be ready to fit into the surround by the gear knob, and off we go. And this is it out the car. So we've got your standard ring dial here with the older black push button controls, but I'm going to change those out for these 2017 models just to match up with the dials, and also some other parts that I've got to fit at another time. So to remove these, it's just a case of flipping it over, and you've got a screw here and a screw here. So get that down there, get that one out too. And then it doesn't matter that this is floppy, because once you do fit it, you know when you wish you hadn't done something, when you do fit it, the trim panel holds it all in place, so it's not going to go up or down or anywhere like that, it's just going to stay put.
So installation, as you'd imagine, is just a reverse of the removal. So just pop those back in there. Just till you feel them nip up. Make sure it looks okay from the other side. Go to the other one there. And then just nip that one. Double check on this one. Yep. And there's our controls with our button looking like that. Now, if you can see, I did cut this one up slightly so you can see how it compares to the other one, just so you can run the cabling in there without there being any movement or any loss of control, like any kinking in the wiring. But yeah, it's been a while since I've put anything TRD on the car, so best get this in, I guess. TRD gaiter boot, let's do that. Now on the reverse, you can probably see 4 screws there, just undo those. Only nice short screws, makes it nice and easy for me. 3 and 4. And then that plastic trim ring comes off with this attached. So I want to have this TRD bit facing that way, like that. So if I pull this off over these tabs, I don't think it's quite the same with the TRD one, because it doesn't seem to have those holes, it's just got some slots on the bottom. Have that ring all the way off, like that. And then this looks as though it just has those points there. Yeah, so where the 4 points go is where the rings would normally go, but yeah, there's no actual cuts in this, so guess we'll figure it out. Maybe it's better if this is already sitting in here. Yeah, so that's gonna sit in there like that. I'm not sure how fun this is going to be to watch, me trying to figure this annoyance out, but I'll try my best to make it take less time than it needs to. I'll get back to you in a minute. Ignore what I said, I was totally wrong. The holes are actually there, they're just really difficult to see, and I probably won't be able to focus on it, but you just work your way around, pushing the tabs through the holes so that you can see. Hopefully you can see anyway. You've got these plastic tabs just along the top here that push through the holes, and then they hold it in place like that on the inside. Just got a few more to do till we're round back at the start again. Work it round. Luckily it's quite soft leather, so it's quite compliant. There we go, back to the start. And then if I've done this right, which I'm making no guarantees I have, that should line up with the back here so that it looks that way and you can see it when it's all lined in. Oh, it looks like I might have done. Again, this is quite soft leather, so it's quite easy to work with. You pop your 4 screws back in position, those back in place. The third one. Fourth one. So that's how that all looks. Quite like that actually. But TRD also give you this trim ring, which just sits over the top of the original like that, and that doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's a smooth black metal which they haven't used anywhere else in the car. It's mostly carbon fibre, but as you can see on the back, you just got these yellow sticky bits of tape, and it's as simple as that really. You peel all these off, sit it down, get it wrong, spend the rest of your life regretting your choices. Or take your time, I'll try, take all the sticky stuff off and try and line it all up before you press it down. Here we go. So this just slots over there like that, sits down into position, and there we go. Just give it a push, follow it round, and hopefully that all sits in there. The buttons still function, and we got something else that says TRD on the car. Happy days. So I'll get that in the car and show you how it all goes together. So that's back in the car now. So we've got two connectors to put in this time. The one that goes just in here, and also this connection cable here, which connects to this to make the buttons work. So if I can get this to focus even, that way round, only goes one way anyway, but you got a little, there we go, little connection point there. Tuck that back under here so that's not in the way, and then our other connector here, get that on the other side of that cable so they don't get in the way of each other. That just sits in there on the new button. I did not think it would be a pain getting in as well as out, but hey, you live and you learn. So I haven't still put the fascias back on yet, no real big issue there, but I've got this all plugged in, so if I give it a start, all those go out. Handbrake's on, yes it is. It's telling me I haven't got my seatbelt on, I can live with that. Yeah, and you can see the, turn that off for a sec, have it just as accessory. So you get it to this point, so no, it's not making the noises, but I just want to show you this working. So you've got your little switch here, which is the adjustment one, up, down, left, right, and select is pressing it, and this one here is the back button. So if I show you that in motion, you can see I'm clicking through the menus. There we go to settings, welcome screen on. Yeah, I like the Toyota, I like the 86 logo. So up or down with that one, back with the one below it, that all functions. Rev range, set at 7300 with a buzzer. Language, no Espanol, let's keep it English. Units, so there we can do miles per hour, kilometers, all that business there. And initialization is for back to factory settings. No messages, so I'm guessing nothing's wrong with it. G meter there, that's not going to work, is it? Not going to do anything with that. Lap stopwatch, all that. And our information screen there with temperatures, miles per gallon, how many miles till we need to fill up, total drive time, etc, etc. One thing I also did, I'll get a picture of in a minute because the thing is teeny tiny, is when I tried this before, we found that the TPMS light would come up just about here, because the earlier cars don't have a TPMS setting, but the later ones do. But what we actually did was we removed the bulb itself from the cluster, and it seems not to have caused any issues. So fingers crossed that stays the same. I guess I won't know till I drive it, but so far so good. Here's a pic of it now, looking absolutely teeny tiny. Now, believe it or not, that teeny tiny little lump just here is the actual bulb, which is from the 044 section on the board. But yeah, you could probably tell why we didn't want to use that, and just how teeny tiny it is. Here's my finger for reference. Yeah, but glad that panned out all right. Let me show you the trim cluster. And I've just got another TRD part to put in here and put the trim pieces back together. So I'll get you to that stage, and then we'll do some more little mods. So now that's all back together, got the trim surround for it. Just wanted to show you these buttons. The disc doesn't do anything, but the odo trip still changes, like total mileage, trip A, trip B. I think if I hold it, yeah, it clears them both. So that's all working as it should as well, and it gives you a nice little outdoor temperature. Now, all the screws are fixed back in, trim panels are on, clip back together. Now they are anyway. Oh, I haven't done that on this side. Slacking. There we go. And then I just need to put in the key cover slot, which is just here, and that just fits in there. You can also have the Gerald Just kit to go here as well as here. And I think there's now even one that goes down here. So if you don't want it to be as obvious as mine is, then you've got that option. But yeah, I haven't put this piece back yet because I have this piece, which matches these ones on the door. So if that just slots back, if you can see, all the teeth try and line up anyway. And then you just give it a push down. And then there's just the single shorter screw that just goes back in here. So I'll get that done up, and then I'll show you it from the other side. And then, sorry about the glare and the reflection, but just to show you that piece fitted. So yeah, makes a slightly nicer look on the interior, I think. Onto this next. One last thing to go. So yeah, the last piece I've got is to replace this leather bit here with another TRD interior panel. And you can say a lot about them. They are expensive for what you get, but they do give you a whole trim panel with it. Now for removal, you just grab the old piece like that, pull it up, and you got to work it over the handbrake handle, and then that exposes all the stuff underneath. And then the installation, as you can imagine, is the reverse. But this might be a little tougher because it's new and it hasn't been used. And then just line it up, push it in position. Oh. And that is there. So when you push it down, you got the, still can't really see it, but the TRD emblem there. But more to the point, it just keeps the nice red theme going between all the parts of the car. Whew. But yeah, another hot one in here today. So I'll see you out there in a minute. So that's that. Got 2 more bits done to tick off for the IVA MOT list, which would be the red rear facing lights in the door, and also the miles per hour showing gauge cluster, which is also obviously corrected. to miles, so it shows how many miles the car's done rather than still showing in kilometres. Then we've also got the Gerald Just installation of the buttons, so I can operate it. They're all fitted in there nicely. In the TRD surround with the TRD leather boot, the TRD handbrake handle, and also, well, the cover anyway, and also the later model alcantara style hood cowl. So yeah, less reflection when I'm sitting in the car and it's sitting here in the garage for at least this many days, but we're getting there. But I have got some other bits to do for the outside. There's 2 more IVA MOT things I've got to do. One, no JDM car comes with a red rear fog light, so I've got to fit that, but I want to try and incorporate that in the bumper so it doesn't really ruin the flow of the rear, because with the UK one it's in that strip down the bottom, which mine doesn't have. It's got the exhaust there, so I might try and mirror the fog light on the back with the reversing light so that they both inset in the bumper. And secondly, the other part that I still need to do, which is a bit of a grey area, if anyone's got any advice I'll take it, is to install headlight washers in the front of the bumper, because it's got HIDs from the factory, and I know in some instances if a car comes with those it has to have headlight washers, but I don't know if the car doesn't come with headlight washers whether they need to be there. Is it a case of if they're there they have to work, or is it a case of they definitely have to be there? Because that will take me down 2 schools of thought. But I've got the parts for both, just got to try and figure all that together. But I'll have to do some wiring for the rear fog, because I want it to be able to come on the indicator stalk rather than have a separate button or another issue like that. So got some parts to get, got some bits to fit, but hopefully you'll stay with me on the journey. And if you like what you've seen, please like. I'd love people to subscribe. It shows a lot of effort on your part. Thank you for sticking with me, and try and catch you next time in Garage 86. Trying to do a video a week at the moment, so hopefully stick to that. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.